And I had quoted this hadith before, but I want to remind ourselves of it, because I really believe it is an incredibly important hadith for all times, but especially our time. And this is the hadith that creates, that gives us a metaphor of the believer being like a bee. And that I want to quote the longer narration, which is in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad. And that it is, you'll see what is mentioned here is that it's mentioned in the context of the signs of the end of time. So, in other words, when there is turmoil, that when things are going wrong, that when things are not the way that they should be, how should the believer be? Right? I didn't mean to say believer be, and then the believer should be like a bee. But that this is what our Prophet says. إِنَّ مِنْ أَشْرَاطِ السَّاعَةِ الْفُحْشُ وَالتَّفَحُّشُ. Indeed, from the signs of the end of time are indecency. And you could translate the second one, although it's the same root word, people going out of their way to be indecent. So there's some people that are just indecent. But then there are other people that see other people being indecent, and they go out of their way to being indecent. And they end up being more indecent than those who are just indecent. And if you've traveled the world, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. There are people that just want so much to be a part of this world that they think other people that are living is that they go out of their way to be like that. And they end up being more difficult to deal with oftentimes than people who are just indecent and kind of let other people be. Because people that are going out of their way there's that way that they end up treating people who are not indecent, that ways that even people that aren't like that do. And then the Prophet said, وَسُوءَ الْجِوَارِ, is that there will be a lot of bad neighbors. وَقَطَعَ الْأَرْحَامِ, and a severing of family ties. And then look at this one. وَيُؤْتَمَنَ الْخَائِنُ وَيُخَوِّنَ الْأَمِينَ, that people that are really treacherous is that they will be trusted, and people that are trustworthy, they will deem to be treacherous. And so everything is that upside down. Is that the true people that have this trait of trustworthiness is that they won't be trusted. And that people that really shouldn't be trusted are trusted. I mean, how many people in the world does that apply to now? If you really think about that. And you think about people high up. I mean, we know what happened last Friday. And we know people that are in charge of, very serious things. And are these the people that really should be in those positions? Like, what are their intentions? What are their agendas? What are their ulterior motives? And what is their character? What is their just common decency? Forget character. What is just where's their common decency? And so that this is a sign of the end of time. But what does our Prophet say? In this hadith, he gives us the two metaphors. وَمَثَلَ الْمُؤْمِنِ كَمَثَلِ الْقِطْعَةِ الذَّهَبِ الْجَيْدَةِ. The likeness of a believer in these times is like a piece of gold. أُوقِدَ عَلَيْهَا, that فَخَلُصَتْ. It was put to the fire and it became more pure. وَوُزِنَتْ فَلَمْ تَنْقُصْ, and when it was weighed, it didn't diminish. So again, the idea that we've always heard is that testing relates to putting fake gold upon the fire, that expose its fakeness, whereas true gold will become more pure. But then the Prophet said, and the likeness of a believer is like a nahla. The believer is like a bee. And look what he said. أَكَلَتْ طَيِّبًا وَوَضَعَ طَيِّبًا. He ate from the pure and wholesome things, and then he excreted and emitted that which was pure and wholesome. And that in another narration is that the Prophet said that waqa'at, yani it landed in this sense, like on the petal or whatever it is that it is taking pollen from. فَلَمْ تَكْسِرْ وَلَمْ تُفْسِدْ. It didn't break the petal, right? Nor did it spoil the flower. In other words, is that what is our Prophet teaching us? Is that in situations where things have just gone awry and things are crazy, is that be like that bee. Focus on the beauty in things. Focus on the good in things. That try to acquire, like the bee, is that the best of everyone and everything that is around you. That understand the best of every possible things that happen to you in relation to your experience of the divine decree. Try to find something beneficial for yourself in relation to that divine decree, and something that will bring about benefit to you. And it's a very profound hadith, about this metaphor of a human being like the bee, and that if we implement the teachings of our Prophet ﷺ, it will lead to the extreme good in all of our lives, and it will bring about felicity in this world and the next. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and open up the doors